Welcome back to the Wizard Shop. Today is an update on the 79 Nova and also what's all involved and what kind of advantages of things you can take care of while an engine is out. Let's get started. So here I am in the engine bay of the 79 Nova that we took on a long time ago. Since the last video, the engine has been out, the transmission has been out, and it's been to two different places getting rebuilt. And with the way things are going right now, you don't get things done like that in a week or two. It's like a month or two. So many have asked, where are we at with the 79 Nova? We were just waiting for parts to show up and wait for the engine to show up. Everything is back, and we're going to talk about just because you pull an engine and put another one in, that's not the end of it. While the engine's out, there's so much more you can do, things that are easy to get to, that you might as well take care of while the engine is out. Secondly, I get so many calls of people wanting to LS swap a car or put a 350 in their Studebaker Lark or various different things, and I believe they think that it's like a 2-hour job or something. And when I tell them it's 5, 6, 7, possibly 10 grand, adapter plates, transmission controllers, all these different parts add up so fast, and they're like, well, I didn't spend that much to buy the car. Engine swaps, if you're doing it in your driveway and you are doing the work and supplying the parts, it can be feasible and it can be very fun. We actually have a swap coming up soon, but I'm not going to tell you guys about it yet. It's a secret. But if you have to pay a professional shop to do the work for you, you will get your tail end handed to you. You will get raked over the coals really bad. And it isn't that they're ripping you off. It literally takes that kind of money to do this kind of work. So let's go ahead and take a look around the Nova. So the paint on this car is actually in decent shape. It just needs to be polished. I don't know that it even needs a repaint. The tires are very, very old. But we're not going to put new tires on it while we're still pressure washing and cleaning and degreasing this car. These tires work perfectly for what they're good for, and that is rolling the chassis around the shop. There is some little scrapes and things here that I guess it could be repainted, but it wouldn't have to be. You can see that it came from Panhandle Chevrolet in Texoma, Oklahoma when it was new. And that's kind of the story of this car that I'll tell you guys here in a little bit. But as you can see, all the plastics that are usually destroyed by now on these old cars is still intact. And it's not caved in or dented or beat up. The body is in very good shape. The wheels will have to be sandblasted and repainted, but they do have hubcaps in the trunk that go on it. It's the standard OEM hubcaps. So this car actually belongs to the wife of the owner of this car. I guess they're both the owners, but it really belongs to his wife. The story behind it is that she had this as her high school car, maybe even before high school. She was 14 years old or so. This is what she learned to drive in, and she drove this car for quite some time, and they never have gotten rid of it since. It's pretty much stock for the most part. It's not been modified or customized or LS swapped or anything crazy like that. And both of them are at a point in their life where they want this back on the road again, and within reason, cost is not a concern. He gave me basically a blank check. He said, make this run again and make it right. So that's what we're doing. As you can see, there's no hood on it, and we have an empty hole. So we took the hood off, which is actually up there in the loft. You can see it above the Rolls-Royce flag. It's just sitting up there safe and out of the way. It makes it so easy to get the engine out and work and stand in the bay and do everything without the hood constantly hitting you in the head. But before we dive into the engine bay, let's go head on over to the engine and the transmission. So this is the original engine that is original to the car. It is a simple 305, a 5-liter Chevy V8. And although it's not very powerful, they're just as good as any small block Chevy. They just don't have the grunt of a 350. The engine was rebuilt by Martin Machine here in the Wichita area. I've been using him for over a decade. That's the only guy I trust to do my cylinder heads, engine blocks, anything machining like that. The engine's assembled as far as the long block. We've got the intake on. We're just going to leave the manifolds just the standard color that they are, the rust color. You can paint these, but really they'll just burn off, and although it could be ceramic painted or some kind of coating, the customer's not interested in all that. He just wants it back stock and running good, and these being painted is really not that big of a concern. We are going to be putting a brand new carburetor, which is a standard 2-barrel. I know most of you in the comments will think, come on, put a 4-barrel, or come on, you should have just replaced it with a 350, or why didn't you just LS swap it? Or that's not your choice. It is the customer's choice. It is their car, and it is this engine and this particular setup that they have the memories of. They don't want an LS. They want the 305 back in the car, just like it was when they were driving it years and years ago. So you have to keep that in mind when you have customers that want something like this done. They can actually get offended if you start trying to cram an LS swap down their throat. Just leave it alone, leave it like it is, and put it back the way it was. That's what we're going to do. So Martin Machine actually went through and did a full bore and hone and rings, bearings, cam bearings, everything. It's basically just completely rebuilt. And he rebuilt the heads. This engine is ready to go back in and last another at least 100,000 miles. So now we just have to start putting all the accessories and everything on, and it'll be ready to go back in the car. Now let's take a look at the transmission. This is your standard TH350. It's just 1-to-1 ratio in third gear. There's nothing fancy, no overdrive, no electronics hardly. So that's what they wanted back in the car. It's been rebuilt. Everything's fresh, ready to go back together. We'll mate it to the engine when we're ready to go, and we'll slide it back into the car just the way it came out, all in one unit. So like I said, these two will go together as one unit and go back into the car.
Somebody say unit?
Not G-unit.
Ah.
This is a little 305.
It's cute.
Yep.
Probably negative 12 horsepower, but that was the era, huh?
Yeah, I was just mentioning to them on there that this customer wants it back the way it was when his wife was 14 years old. They don't want it LS swap. They don't want it hopped up. They don't want it. They want it just the way it was back then.
Looks like a cool Survivor.
Yeah, it is. It's in very good shape.
Okay. Well, you want me to do it?
You put it in?
Yeah.
No.
Probably wouldn't end well.
I don't know if it would end well, but if it didn't, it might turn out bad for you.
Yeah. All right.
You smell anything in there?
Paint.
Paint?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's probably all you can smell. It hasn't ran yet, so. I don't know where Junior Man actually got this engine stand, I think from an auction or something. If you look at it, it looks kind of odd. We just had a small Harbor Freight engine stand. And he was actually mounting it to this thing, and I was like, Junior Man, where did you even get that? He's like, oh, I just bought it at an auction. I decided to use it. All right, great. It's kind of homemade, you can tell.
Yeah, like it's built to remove tank motors or something. It's way overbuilt.
Yeah.
Tractor motors or something.
Well.
Cool.
Very, very cool.
So I walk in at the beginning of this video or the end of the video?
About halfway.
Oh, okay. What's next?
Next, we're going to go over to the engine bay.
Ah, sweet.
One cool story about this car is actually where it came from. You just saw the badge. It said Texoma or Panhandle. This actually came from the area of the Dust Bowl. I think that's where the customer's wife grew up, in the area of the Dust Bowl. You guys remember hearing about the Dust Bowl in the 30s, the dirty 30s they called them. It was dirty for a reason because there was dust everywhere.
My grandmother grew up in the Dust Bowl in Texas. It's
one
of her earliest memories of having to sleep with a mask on because of the dust storms.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I'm pretending to be a 305 here.
Pushing one out?
Well, I mean, I don't know what a motor thinks when it's going. It's probably exerting itself. You know, I'm just trying to, like, method act a motor right now.
It's inhaling while it's exhaling at the same time.
Probably about this. Yeah.
I don't know if that's working good for you.
It's about the same horsepower, probably, me versus a 305. But this is actually a pretty tidy engine bay for a car that's never been redone.
Yeah, we had Junior Mint actually pressure wash it. It's pretty clean. It was pretty gunky. It had Dust Bowl dirt on it. It's kind of the Flintstones. You can just start kicking.
I suppose, yes. You know, it's a pretty comfortable place to be, actually.
All right, well, we need to show the people the engine bay down in here.
Okay,
so.
I'll get out. Sorry.
Okay.
All right, climbing out. Just perfect patina, I think, on this thing.
It is.
Oh, pulled something. Oh.
Oh, no good.
Okay.
You all right?
It'll recover. Yeah.
Groin muscle.
Groin. Tight groin on me.
While an engine is out, it's a perfect time to take care of things that are actually difficult to get to. It's easy to get the engine out, get it rebuilt, and throw it back in, and then you realize, oh wow, while I was there, I should have done this and I should have done that. And
this is weird. Okay, I'm noticing two things.
what's that?
Why do the motor mounts look like butt cheeks?
They actually do, don't they?
Why are they butt cheek motor mounts, Wizard? Why is there a crack in that?
There's actually, these are rubber coated and the crack pushes down on it and keeps it stable.
Okay, so that butt crack is for stability.
Yep.
And why does this rod have a ball on the end of it? I mean,
I didn't even notice those
that
things.
has a rod with a ball on it.
It says top as well.
Okay, all right, Wizard. I didn't notice that.
That's actually just a plastic shield to keep heat and dirt and everything off of the, actually it's called a rag joint that's behind there.
A rag joint?
Rag joint.
Rag joint, I see.
Yep.
Okay, so the ball is protecting the rag joint on
Yes.
the steering shaft.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating.
So while this was apart, one thing you could do is the motor mounts. If you had any leaks with your steering gearbox or any issues, now is the time to remove it and get it resealed and
You
reinstalled.
can also give it a wipe. There we go. It's a dirty bottom, Wizard.
I don't want that on me. Gross. Now it's Charmin clean, I guess. If you have any issues with the firewall, any ground points, vacuum hoses, any wiring down here that you need to take care of. Another thing you can see here, the control arm bushings are just roached. It's just the rubber is deteriorating. I can peel chunks of it off. Now is the time to remove those. We're going to as well. I'll order new bushings for these. It's so much easier with the engine out. Also, if you got any issues going on with your idler arm or your pitman arm or any of the steering components, you can literally sit in the engine bay and take care of those right now. Nothing in the way. Right there where Hoovie stepped and pulled his groin muscle is the core support for the radiator, and you see it's kind of rusty. Those can actually rust out if they're not maintained or taken care of. Now is the time to wire brush it and paint it all up. Go ahead and get that taken care of, and it'll be good for another 10 or 20 years.
Yeah, it's really not that rusty yet. I see one hole in the battery tray. Other than that, actually looks really good. They kind of took care of this thing, I suppose.
Yeah, it's actually in very good shape. It's set in a barn for a long time, but when it was running, they didn't abuse it. They didn't do any modifications or anything crazy.
Nope.
Just left it stock.
Butt cheek motor mounts and all.
Yes, butt cheek motor mounts. Normally that's not seen with the engine in there.
Right.
That's very visible now. It's full moon.
It's a full moon.
Anything with a brake booster, it's easy to remove right now, or the wiper motor, which is right next to it, the square block-shaped motor. All these things you can literally, like I said, sit in the engine bay and just take care of everything with no engine in the way. Now's the time to do it all. One thing we're going to do when we get the engine mounts taken care of and all these things taken care of is we're going to use spray undercoating. We're going to paint the frame, paint the cross member, everything nice and clean. That's also now the time to do all that.
I've had you do it many times before with great success.
Yeah, it looks nice and it protects the metal.
The Hummer most recently, that came out great.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Junior Mint loved it.
He loves that kind of work.
He loves the fumes, I think.
I think he does.
Yes.
This is our transmission. It's called a kickdown cable. You can see it's kind of crusty. We'll probably be replacing that. That is something that is really easy to get to when the engine's out. Go ahead and take care of it. We'll put it on when the engine and transmission are mated together, and it'll go in just like that. It'll be a lot easier to mess with. So all those things I just mentioned, it makes sense to replace them while it's out, not only because it's easy to do now, but it saves on labor. If you have to do them down the road when the engine's installed, it actually can cost you more when you could have just taken care of it now. One thing I've told the people watching right now is These things don't get done for $1,000.
No. No.
So many people I've called Crazy D in the office. They want an LS swap. They want to do this. They want to do that. And when I tell them it's easily $7 to $10,000 to pay a shop to do that, they actually want to argue.
Wow. Well, I don't know where they get that from, because if they watch my videos over and over again, it's not you taking advantage of me. It's just a lot of time and parts and work, and even a sympathetic restoration like this, it costs more than the car is worth, probably.
Yeah, easily.
I mean, but I get the sentimental attachment. If you've had it for so long and you want to drive it again, I'm all for it. It's a cool car. You never see these anymore.
No, you don't. They're usually like in demolition derbies. They've been destroyed, crushed up. But now, this one gets a chance, a new lease on life. They can relive their high school fun. There's actually one more thing I want to show you back here, Tyler.
Oh, okay.
We've got the hubcaps and a whole bunch of new parts and shocks and everything back here. But here's the transmission mount. It's like one lone little spud.
Okay.
It looks happy to see you.
Yeah.
So here's the new motor mount.
Oh my God, Becky. Look at his butt.
Oh.
Well.
That's even larger than the other ones.
It's not as collapsed, you're right. Yes, it's definitely...
it's firm.
Bedonket. Oh, it is firm. Nice little bedonket on there. It's going to torque here. Here. There you go, Wizard.
I don't want anything to do with any of that.
You want to get torqued by a motor mount? Come on.
Not by a motor mount.
Okay.
That's crazy.
We can wrap up the video. I'm busy.
Okay. So I'll let him play with the buttons there, and I'll let you guys know. If you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use to finish this car up, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. And we got many, many more projects to go. Please help me. Thanks for watching.